It has been quite a week. We are live. Yes, I see it on my Facebook wall. We're live. So Andres, why don't you break us in here and tell everybody what they're listening to, because nobody knows what this is except for me.
Okay, so we right now are doing a simulcast. It's a podcast. So if you're listening on with your podcast ears, great. And but we can also be we're also available on YouTube now, and we're streaming live. And so the idea here is that eventually we want to make an announcement that we're going to be recording. We want call-ins, man. We want. Because we if you haven't heard, we're separating the show into two parts. There's the news section, and then there's the guest section. I feel like there's so much. I don't want to have a 2-hour show. I'd rather spread the love, man.
And why force people to listen to stuff that they don't want to hear? So if you don't want to hear about the breaking news updates, you can listen to our guest interviews with people like Dan Locke and Ryan Levesque. And if you want to hear the breaking news with the marketing geeks, that's what you're going to get with us right now.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another fine episode of the Marketing Geeks podcast / news. Biggest news, of course, everybody was surprised to hear that Jeffrey Epstein died, including Jeffrey Epstein. I think he was the most surprised to find out that he was going to commit suicide, but that happened. Just found out today that he broke his neck in several places while committing suicide alone, while on suicide watch. So good job, Jeffrey Epstein. You injured yourself. So I have no further comment, Your Honor.
You have no further comment? Yeah, that was a weird one. I kind of.
No, was it? That wasn't weird. We all knew that was going to happen.
It happened. Let's get into the news, Andros. What do you have for me in the world of marketing?
Wow. Oh, this is really interesting. So it looks like Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders is doing something very, very interesting. Let me go ahead and. Is
it as interesting as having a Lamborghini parked behind him on the beach?
That's pretty damn interesting. How'd you do that, man? Well, Are you making money while you sleep?
That's right. Yes, I'm making money while I sleep. Well, I'm just working from the beach. It's incredible, and like I even have the power to freeze people behind me, which is something I've been working on for a while, but I've mastered it now. And even my arm starts disappearing sometimes too, which is strange, but it's something that comes with the territory of being successful.
You are the one. You are starting to believe. By the way, 20 years ago, Matrix came out. In fact, exactly 20 years ago, Matrix, Mystery Men, The Iron Giant, Three Kings, and Fight Club all came out around the same time.
That's insane.
And American Beauty. I know. It's like one of the best years for movies ever.
And then I look back, but it's like I think about the Star Wars prequels, like Episode 1 is now 20 years old. How the hell did that happen? Like, when did the prequels age 20 years? And even like Batman became years old. I mean, this is insane. We live in a weird time. Time flies.
Yeah, man. So Bernie Sanders trying to reach out to the youth. You know what he's doing? He's using Twitch. He's using Twitch. Yeah, to stream his. That's smart, man. That's really smart.
You ever use Twitch, Andres? You ever go on there?
I have not gone on Twitch, but Iris and I have started a TikTok account. If you want to check us out, we're on the Sturgeons.
I have a TikTok. I'm just a stalker, I guess, because I only use it to kind of look at what's going on in the world, which sounds really creepy because like everybody on there is like under the age of like 22.
Well, I gotta tell you, I actually really have. In the short time I've been using TikTok, I actually have come to really enjoy it. I think that it's a place where
because it's kind of like a Vine 2.0 in a sense, right? I mean,
yeah, and so they give people the tools to make small, tiny films like soundtracks, music clips, and you can make these tiny loops. And then there'll be like right now there's a challenge called the Get Up Challenge where everybody takes this one piece of music and they all do a dance. And the dance has kind of similar moves. but you do the get up. And so people are doing these really elaborate get up dances with their friends. And just, I mean, it's awesome to see like young people just making really creative, interesting things. And I really like it. I don't know. So Iris and I are making these funny little like dumb films. And so yeah, follow us on the Surgeons and comment and like our videos. So there you go.
Twitch. So for everyone that doesn't know about Twitch, Twitch is primarily a video game streaming platform. It's branched out a little bit on it's high-end live streaming. Some people can even do podcasts from Twitch. I mean, people do podcasts from Twitch with like kind of live call-in environments. However, I use it to watch professional poker players play poker and share their screens, and then I can learn from them. And I've got so much better, so much better.
Yeah.
Not really. Really. I do that though. I mean, it's been a while, but I was doing that for a while. I spend a couple hours watching these pro poker players play on Twitch because you get to see their hands, get to see what they're doing. It's kind of fun.
I hope your poker playing is better than your stock picks. That's all I
it's about equivalent.
Can say about that,
my friend. Oh my god.
Anyway,
no, you don't even want to know that stock portfolio.
I don't. So Bernie Sanders using Twitch, I think that's really smart. I mean, here's the funny thing about it is that, the elections are coming up and we, one of our listeners said that I get too political on the show, but I believe that marketing is politics. Everything about marketing is political. And so I think that any way you need to reach young people is great, but I've known several people that voted for Donald Trump, but they said they would have voted for Bernie Sanders before him. So this is why we need.
I've heard that as well. So we'll see what happens here because we're getting closer to the primaries.
Man, Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren. That's the ticket. If that ticket happens, I'm going to flip my lid. I will.
You coming back? You coming back to the U.S.?
Never, ever. Show me what you got.
I got a story that I want to cover. So we're talking about kind of the younger platforms that the youth are migrating to or spending their time on.
Yeah.
One of these is one of them was Snapchat. Snapchat was huge. In like 2016? It was all of a sudden it was the next big thing. It was touted to take over Facebook, and then it had a bit of a setback. The company's still there. It's hanging on, and it's they're moving in a direction of more like augmented reality technology. And so they're rolling out their version 3 of the Spectacles right now. And the new version of Spectacles now has the ability to render high definition 3D images right on the fly as you're walking around. And pretty soon they're going to master this tech where you can get real-time advertisements. So when you're looking at somebody's, I'm just adding this in, I'm assuming this. When you're looking at somebody's shoes, I'm going to look at their shoes and I'm going to see like the price tag and like click here to buy these shoes on Amazon right now. I'm expecting like AR to take that mode, which I think marketers are going to love. People are going to find annoying, but it's inevitable. It is inevitable that's coming.
Yeah, I don't know if that's going to work, man. I mean, this is actually something from The Verge, so I'm going to go ahead and
maybe it'll be like they're tracking your vision now. You're wearing the spectacles, so now they can see everything.
And they're absolutely.
The ads that follow you on the internet are going to be what you saw. So it'll be like,
yeah, exactly. So here's the story from The Verve. Snap announced the Spectacles 3 with an updated design and a second HD camera. Well, of course they're going to do eye tracking. I mean, they definitely look, by the looks of it, they look less obnoxious than like the Google Glass. But I really this comes down to one thing that you were saying, which is this is really about the future is going to belong to whoever can have the first true augmented reality glasses that will be the cell phone killer, But that said, I don't know if I'm going to be comfortable with constantly getting bombarded with advertising into my eyeballs. In fact, I just made a decision recently because I got a Facebook. I'm still on it, but I don't really respond to anybody on there anymore. I just kind of keep it just in case. But recently I made a huge decision and I decided to stop using Reddit quite as much. I was
why is
going
that?
down.
Tell me why Reddit train, because I love Reddit.
I love Reddit too, but that's a problem. It's a giant rabbit hole, and I've actually changed my habits a little bit because my habit was I have this strange multitasking brain where I can take in large amounts of information in a very short amount of time. So I am not kidding. I would listen to podcasts at double speed, like news podcasts, and I would read Reddit simultaneously. And for the most part, I was able to
And some
get
of
all of that. Yeah, I was able to get all of that information into my brain. And so because one of my superpowers is I can kind of notice patterns based on like what is clicking. It's kind of why I'm a good SEO person. But I really was thinking about it and thinking like, is this making me any better? Is like getting all this information in me doing anything except making me go fucking crazy? And
well,
uh,
if you're a fan of movies like Under the Silver Lake, which I talk about frequently on the show, there's a whole Reddit community around finding the hidden codes, man. You need to go watch that movie. Nobody, I'm the
I
only one
will.
that likes that movie that I've talked
I'm
to.
sure I'll love it. I'm sure I'll
Nobody
love
else.
it. But
I love
but
it.
but but the thing is that I just felt like I was just, my brain was too noisy, and it was making the rest of my day kind of fucked up. And
Hmm.
so what I decided to do was, rather than listen to podcasts, one of the things I'm geeky about right now is an app called Autumn.
Blinkist? Which one? Oh no, not Blinkist. Okay.
Yeah, it's called Autumn. It's only available on the iPhone. I have to admit, it's not a great app, but the content on it is amazing, and I pay €7 a month for it. But it's articles from the New Yorker and Texas Monthly and the London Book of Reviews, and it's just journalism at its absolute best.
Do they
So
summarize? Just
it's
get the whole articles. Like, what are you
you get
getting?
the whole article. So I'm not like Blinkist, and I was doing Blinkist too, where it was like a whole book in like 8 minutes. And it was just too much information. So Autumn is like these hour and a half long read articles, and they're performed like audiobooks. But some of the articles I've been listening to, like real journalism, is just so good. And I've run across so many stories that are just really great. So instead of listening to the short form, I'm getting back into the long form. And I'm also listening to the Dark Tower series by Stephen King. So I'm losing myself back into fiction, and I also am playing with an app called Musician, and I bought a guitar and I'm learning how to play guitar. So the time I was taking to go on Reddit and go down these rabbit holes, I'm learning how to play
And
guitar.
you're working a full-time job, and you're a podcast host of the successful
And a
Marketing Geek podcast.
dad, and a dad,
There you go.
and I'm starting a business like on top of that. So yeah. Anyway, I've got to. I need some time to just like focus on something slower, and I feel that it's a lot healthier for me in the long run. And especially in this ADD culture.
I'm amazed that
So
you can listen to like podcasts or audiobooks at 2x plus. So you go above 2x, I think sometimes. I
two
can
and a
do like
half, 2.5 is my average.
1.75 is like where my limit is. I've tried to go
Yeah,
past 1.75 and it just stopped processing at that point. So 1.5 is
yeah.
comfortable for me, but 1.75 I can kind of hang, and I'm working on getting it up there. But yeah, I've got a limit on that. But I do love going. I mean, I'm a big I still use Audible all the time, and I have a ton of books I listen to. So
Oh yeah, and but I mean, it's such a great way to pass the time, because you can listen to an audiobook in between other things that you're doing. But I listen to YouTube videos at double speed too, and so because I listen to everything at like double speed, now when I listen to something at regular speed, it's so painfully slow. I feel like I'm losing my mind.
what about like classical music? How's that for you?
Well, that was the kind of the depressing thing, because I found out that that Spotify just released a feature where if you listen to a podcast, you can listen to it at 2x, which was the feature I was waiting for.
Mhm.
So I may use that now if I start listening to podcasts again.
Speaking of
But
Spotify, since we need to cover marketing topics here too. Spotify
yeah,
rolled out a Spotify for podcasters, which has been in beta for quite a while. It is now rolled out fully to the general public, and so if you have a podcast on Spotify, you can go to Spotify for podcasters, and you can actually get real-time analytics. Not only well, they give you analytics data for your numbers and your downloads, but they actually break down like the gender. They break down some of the demographic and psychographic qualities of who's listening to your show. So far, Spotify has given us the best data that I've seen yet on who's actually listening to the show. And
yeah, in fact,
so
this is
so in the future when we're marketing, we'll know a better understanding of kind of who our listeners are and who to focus the advertising budget on.
Now, this is an article I found on Marketing Land about this. So Spotify for Podcasters provides data on demographics, listening habits. I mean, in marketing, one of the things you do, you got to look at the numbers, see who's responding to what, and do more of the things that people are responding to.
I know you're in denial on those, but our listeners apparently listen to Ed Sheeran. Although that looks very similar to what ours looked like, so maybe they just didn't update it yet.
I don't know. Well, you know what? Maybe those listeners are actually very smart because, as I have said, I truly believe that Ed Sheeran is actually just an AI. Yeah, it's just a kind of an actor who's playing this singer, but all of the songs are written by this AI algorithm, and he just sings them.
I think you might be onto something there. I wouldn't be shocked.
But Spotify is going all in on this because what they're looking at doing is replacing your morning drive. And when you get behind the wheel, there's a lot of commuters there. And if I can have my perfect playlist interspersed with podcasts that it knows I like, that's like it's like this listening program that it provides you on a daily basis.
And don't forget that we talked about this in our last episode, I think, but Spotify's listenership has gone it's doubled year over year. So they are 100% increase in listeners since last year at this time. So they are their investments by buying platforms like Anchor. They own Anchor.fm, which is the hosting platform that we use and we talk about a lot. They bought Gimlet, and they bought, what was the other one they bought? Do you remember? Bought something.
They bought another thing called Soundtrap. It's like so people can actually make music and upload it. Anyway, I mean the strategy that they're going for, which is a really brilliant one, is to basically own your ears. So anything that you listen to while you're doing whatever you're doing is going to go through something owned by Spotify, and that is. I mean, I have no problem paying for that product because it's so good. It's honestly the best thing I've ever experienced.
What you want, and that's the main thing. If you pay their fees, then you're not going to get the ads too. So it's kind of like you have the kind of avoiding the ads by being a subscriber, and it's what you want.
So anyway, moving right along, I've got another interesting story here. So I don't know if you heard about this, but WordPress is purchasing Tumblr.
I did see this. This was interesting. But so Yahoo bought Tumblr back in what year did they buy them? They bought them for like a ridiculous sum of money, billions of dollars.
Yeah, 2017, and because Tumblr was also a place where people would basically you create your own online blog / magazine, and there were people who had their Tumblr was dedicated to porn, and so because of that, it violated the terms of service of Apple, and Google was kind of funny about it. So they basically said that we're not going to put the Tumblr app on your phones unless you figure out the porn issue. So they took porn off of Tumblr, and Tumblr's usership basically halted. So
so Yahoo bought Tumblr for I want to say a couple $1 billion, and they're now selling it for under 10 million is a report. It's under $10 million that they're going to get net when the sale goes through.
Yeah, but
$1.1 billion, and they sold it in 2013 initially, and they're now acquiring it for under $10 million.
Yeah, and I think that this is a good move for WordPress because obviously they're going to integrate it into WordPress.com and to the WordPress.org. So when you install a version of WordPress, you probably get this plugin that's going to give you an immediate. Like what it will do is essentially instead of having your own blog on your website, your blog will now be attached to Tumblr. So you'll have a distribution system automatically when you write your blog. It's a brilliant maneuver.
They're also buying the data They're buying the Tumblr data as
Oh
part of
yeah,
our package, which is probably just as valuable, if not more valuable, than everything else. So they are buying a large chunk of data with that purchase as well.
of course, and they'll be able to sell the advertising on the Tumblr space, so it's going to be a win for them in the long run. I mean, and of course, they're not going to censor porn. So,
Are they undoing that? Are they undoing that feature?
oh, of course. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I mean, it makes
They're gonna.
sense. Makes sense. Okay, I didn't hear that though. I didn't hear that they were doing that.
Oh, they're no big announcement, but that's just my prediction of the week.
Speaking of the level of data, and again, this is something I've talked about before, but I want to bring it up again. There's a great Netflix documentary out there right now called The Great Hack, which is all about kind of the level of data that these tech companies are collecting on you, and some of the abuses that have gone on with that data. And they go in detail in the Cambridge Analytica incidents, and a lot of it's focused on the UK because the UK had more privacy laws intact, where actually it looks like laws were broken in the UK, whereas in the US the laws were a little bit lenient, more lenient. So it's less obvious whether or not laws were broken in the US, even though obviously there were abuses. So it's a great documentary though, because if you don't know about this stuff and like how advanced the data is that follows you around the internet, it'll open your eyes. I have mentioned that it's very one-sided. It's pretty anti-tech, so be aware of that going in. But it's still worth checking out, even if you're pro-tech, whatever. Go check it out.
Well, I'm totally pro-tech, but I got to tell you, I mean, people honestly do not even connect to how much they're manipulated on a daily basis through online forums. And that's one of the reasons why I'm pulling way back my connection to my online world.
They have like this. They have these advanced psychographic data, and in the United Kingdom, there's certain, if you have like a certain threshold of a number of people, and you're collecting like detailed psychographics, you are they consider it weaponizing the data at some level, at some point. They go into the detail on that in the documentary, so I don't quote me on the exact definition there, but that's where it got really interesting. Is they actually have that's like defined in the laws of the UK, that at some point when you're using this much psychographic data on these kind of databases, it's like weaponized data.
Yeah, absolutely. And what's going to happen in the US is going to be very interesting, because a lot of the machines are completely hackable, and social media has definitely been weaponized. And one of the things that I always encourage everyone who does marketing is try to be authentic and try to do something, and when you do it, make sure that you're bringing some sort of levity and joy to the world and not marketing through fear. I feel that it's that type of thing it's got to stop.
I mean, and that was a big focus in the documentary. And one of the ex-founders of Facebook, so one of the people involved in the early founding of Facebook, has kind of changed his tune on Facebook since. But he talked about how the company was founded essentially as a way of collecting like the psychographic data and using it to run ads. And he said like the easiest way to influence is through fear and through I forget the other one, but there's two key emotions that are the easiest way to influence. And he talked about how
fear and hate.
Facebook is basically a 2 billion person unit where and he was saying it's actually pretty easy once we know like your information and we know your levers of persuasion. It's pretty easy for us to kind of manipulate you.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Hearing it in the video. So go watch that movie, The Great Hack, because it'll kind of just let you know, and you can kind of figure out for yourself whether or not how impacted you were by what went on, or what goes on a daily basis on the internet, and how they're targeting not only your interests, but you're targeting your emotions, and they're using levers of persuasion in ways that you may not have thought of in the past.
Yeah. Weird, brave new world, man. I've got some LinkedIn news. You want to hear it?
Let's hear it.
All right. LinkedIn launches audience engagement insights with the addition of 5 new marketing partners.
If they ever let me LinkedIn Live, I might come on there and make a live video, but they just will not put me on that list. I don't know what it is. If you're listening to LinkedIn, you need to give me access. I even wrote to you and applied and still don't have access.
Maybe I should step in.
You should.
I think it's time for the big guns.
I think I'm blacklisted by LinkedIn.
If you see this man, LinkedIn launches audience engagement insights with the addition of 5 new marketing partners. So actually, I'm not too familiar with Amobi. And do you know these? I heard Hootsuite. I've definitely heard of.
I know the name David Ogilvy, which I'm sure that the name is based off of. So at least I know
and
the
Sprinkler.
name.
Anyway, but Hootsuite basically has launched an audience engagement insight, so you can. Looks like you can basically put something on LinkedIn from Hootsuite, and it'll give you the audience engagement information that's on LinkedIn.
We're both big fans of AppSumo, which is a website that gives you discounted software. So there's been tons of social media platforms just like what you're describing, Hootsuite and these other ones. And so I go and try to buy the lifetime licenses of these new startup companies and get a good deal that way instead of going to Hootsuite and paying like a monthly fee every month.
Oh yeah, I've got so many tools now
one or two
that are you. Yeah, no, I mean. So I bought a few things on AppSumo that I use to this day, and maybe we should do. Let's do it. We should do an episode on our favorite AppSumo finds.
We should do an AppSumo buyer's regret one too. Buyer's regret. Wah, wah, wah.
Anyway, so LinkedIn audience insights. So if you have that, that's cool. LinkedIn's been very good for me recently. It's my favorite platform.
They're so much better than they used to be. They've made incredible strides of improving that platform.
Dude, I am crushing it on LinkedIn, and in fact, one of our listeners reached out and said that we need to do another LinkedIn mastery course.
She reached out to me as well. Yes, yeah. So we will do that. We have that penciled in. So we're going to be doing another LinkedIn kind of optimizing your profile for LinkedIn, but we're going to take it a little bit deeper this time, and we'll talk about like content marketing on LinkedIn and best strategies. And of course, Andres is like the master of job seeking on LinkedIn. This guy is the king.
Man, I had some theories and I tried some things, and I gotta tell you, I mean, look, I came out to the Netherlands and I just looked for a job. I found one. That job fell through right when I got here, so I just found another one. And one thing I know about myself. Oh, like, yeah. I mean, I don't say unemployed long. But one of the things that I feel very confident about is that you could drop me literally anywhere in the world, and I will make a network on LinkedIn within that general area, and I will find a job within a few weeks. I mean, it's great to not have to worry about that ever. And I want to teach our listeners that.
That is good. However, I don't want a job. I just want to make money from home at my beach Lamborghini behind me. So that's
you don't want to work. You just want to bang on the drum all day.
That's right. That is right.
So according to Marketing Land, podcast listening growth continues. Mobile app usage up 60% since January 2018. A new study finds.
It looks like we made a good decision getting into the podcast world when we did. I think it's one of the few decisions we've done well. I will say we made a good one there.
Yeah, let's see how far we get. Okay,
well,
and then
I'm not going to name names, but I've been reaching out to some high profile potential guests, and we're getting some bites back. We're getting some bites. So we're going to try to bring in some big names here in the coming 6 months to a year.
Yeah, I was actually surprised some of these people have been reaching out to us, and it seems as if to me that the show is starting to grow a little bit.
Like somebody like Dan Locke, that's not somebody that we reached out to. He had his PR person reached out to us, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah, so, and if you haven't checked out the Dan Locke interview, we just released it. It's pretty.
Yeah, the video is up as of today. The podcast episode's been up since last Friday. So yeah, go listen to Marketing Geeks. So it's Marketing Geeks podcast. You can find it on iTunes. You can find it iTunes / Apple Podcasts, Google Play / Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, TuneIn, what else? Breaker, Castbox, Overcast.
Yeah, wherever. Under your table. Yeah. LinkedIn sales. I learned something new today. LinkedIn has a app called Elevate, which is a content sharing platform. You
They've
know
had
about
that.
this?
I heard of it. They've had a bunch of different apps that have been like live for a while and then they disappear. Is Elevate still live?
Yeah, I just downloaded it. And so they actually had an app for a while. God, I forget the name of it. But they bought it, and it was a news aggregator. It was one of the best news aggregators ever. And they had like instant share from all of the streams where you got news from. And they killed it. I don't even know why. But
The ad revenue. I guess people they just weren't clicking on the LinkedIn ads. Got to kill it.
So basically what it looks like they're doing is they have this app, Sales Navigator, that will feed you content that you can then share through Sales Navigator. And sharing content on LinkedIn is one of the best things you could possibly do for your own sanity.
Yeah. Now, have you heard about so Amazon's got facial recognition technology that they've now advanced to the level that it recognizes human emotions now. Have you heard about this story?
Oh no, this is crazy.
So it now recognizes fear and hold on, I gotta find the story because I'm going off memory on this one. But it's facial recognition technology. It's now recognizing human emotions. And again, we talked about marketing opportunities. If you can recognize fear, you can monetize it.
I'm gonna get a T-shirt that says that. That's like that is like the best bumper sticker I have ever.
Yeah.
You can recognize fear. You can monetize it. Brilliant.
So the software is called Rekignition, Rekignition. So apparently it's so good that it can recognize human emotions, including fear, and all 7 emotions: happy, sad, angry, surprised, disgusted, calm, and confused, and now fear. So it's recognizing all those. And sneezy they can recognize
sneezy and Gargamel and.
So just imagine like where this world is going now that your cameras, you're going to be
Oh, buddy, I already know where this world is going.
The casinos will be using this, and like if they detect any sense of fear or like any sense of stress, they'll be like, this guy's cheating. Let's go after him.
Well, you know what would be really crazy is if you can actually start to detect like anxiety, that people are lying about something, and you had this like thing where whenever a politician spoke, it analyzed like what their kind of feeling was. I mean, I believe that we have the ability to look at somebody and sense whether or not something is true, right? We have that innate sense. If something feels wrong to us, most of us ignore it, I think. But if we had some sort of AI that can identify that stuff, oh man, that would break up everybody.
We'll start finding thought crimes soon.
Crime.
What's that Minority Report, right? Was that the thought crime one where they future crimes?
Yeah. Well, that's let me tell you, if thought crimes became like a real thing, then I would have to get a girlfriend who would be immune to that. And of course, I'm talking about my sex robot, babe. Oh yeah. It's time once again, ladies and gentlemen, for the Sex Robot Report.
On Twitter, Whitney Cummings was trending with her like new Netflix special, which is all about sex robots, and you've been talking about this for a year.
Oh yeah, for sure, man. I've been talking. Look. I'm a trailblazer, man. I knew mobile was going to happen, and in fact, a friend of mine just wrote to me today. He's like, in 2010, you told me mobile was going to be the thing, and then of course,
just recognized that you were right in 2019. It took 9 years, and he's like, wait a minute, he is right.
Yeah, pretty much. But I always have a sense for things. That's why I got the fuck out of the United States. Okay, so. Finally, our last story. Let me pull this up here.
Building
Are you really?
Building anticipation with you looking for the story and not being prepared.
I know. That's me. Okay, this is the headline of the year. Are you ready?
Ready.
If you have children, please cover their ears.
Earmuffs.
This is from Vice, Vice.com. The blowjob paper. Scientists processed
Oh, my profile.
100. They have processed 109 hours of oral sex to develop an AI that sucks dick.
Wow. Wow.
That's
Glad we
the
put some live-
headline of the year. Anonymous machine learning engine wrote the blowjob paper to try and make this blowjob machine feel more lifelike.
Interesting. Very, very powerful use of AI technology. This is, I mean, it's always like the most advanced technology. The first industry to pick it up, the porn industry. It's why you predicted that VR would be like a massive thing in that industry until you realized, what was it, Anders? What did you realize? What was the big realization?
That about which?
About the VR.
Oh, the big the big realization, the reason it would never catch on is that what you're talking about?
Yes, that's who I'm talking about.
Yeah, the reason why VR porn would never catch on is because I don't want. It's too risky. It's like it's a thing where someone can walk in and drop a sandwich off in front of me and walk out, and I wouldn't know until I just like took off my goggles and headphones and saw a sandwich in front of me that was brought to me by my mother, and that's just embarrassing.
Indeed it is. Indeed it is. That's why you prevented that from happening with your foresight.
And with that, of course, that is the sex.
What are you geeking about? What's the geek stories of the week here?
Well, the geek stories of the week, I got to tell you, for me, it's playing guitar with musician.
Okay.
This is like, look, this is the dopest thing. If you're watching the video cast of this, it's this amazing gamification thing called. Oh, you can't see it. That's funny. Anyway, it's called Musician. I'm loading it up on my iPad, and it's fading out because of the background I have. But it's basically like Guitar Hero with a real guitar. So and it's really well done. And so that's what I'm geeking about right now.
So I'm going to cover a couple stories in movie news. I'm a movie buff. We all know I'm geeky about movies. Number one, it turns out today that Neil Blomkamp, who is the director of District 9, the director of Elysium and Chappie, I think.
Mm-hmm.
He was going to direct RoboCop Returns, and he had this original idea that came from Paul Verhoeven, I think, and it sounded like it was a cool movie coming together. He's now off the project. Scheduling conflict that could not be resolved, and whoever studio is putting it out there just wanted to fast track the thing. So he is now off the project, which kind of kills. I actually kind of was looking forward to that a little bit. It was a cool idea. What are your thoughts?
Neil Blomkamp has had some
mixed results.
Well, look, it's very possible the guy peaked early, like with his first film.
Yeah.
But he had an idea apparently for a Alien reboot that looked pretty dope.
Good.
And you could see his sketches online. But in truth, the guy, I don't know, his Elysium wasn't that. It was good, but
Chappie was like, Chappie, like everybody said, it was terrible. So when I went with low expectations, it was okay, but it was still
and that's too bad. So I don't know. I mean, it could be that somebody just saw how Neil Blomkamp was going to handle the picture.
Another story: Joaquin Phoenix. They're streaming the Joker movie at some film festival, and it's rumored to be like a front runner for a couple of the big awards. So they might actually have a good movie on their hands. I don't know. What are your thoughts on the Joker movie coming out in October?
We'll see.
That's how I feel. I kind of like we'll see, because the director is Todd Phillips, who is the director of Old School, The Hangover, and then The Hangover 2, The Hangover 3, and that's about it. And he's a comedy director. Not a ton of I don't have a ton of faith in him as a director. So we'll see what he puts together. But that's an intriguing project. I will definitely be checking it
Look,
out.
my hope is that I watch something that makes me go, "Oh my God, my brain is twisted. This is amazing," and that's my hope. That doesn't happen very often, and from what I've heard from the set, like, and the other thing is that you hear a story like this, but like, is it like a Russian troll farm who just got paid to like drop this story?
Because
I
they're
don't fucking
promoting the
know
Joker
anymore.
movie, I doubt it. I doubt the Russian troll farms are promoting the Joker movie. I just don't
No,
see
but
the end
you
game on
can
that.
why can't they be like a Ukrainian troll farm?
Is
Hmm?
Joaquin Phoenix like they want to make him into like this ultra celebrity and give him some sort of new power?
No, but they if this movie bombs, then basically the DC universe hasn't had like any real sort of hits. It'll kind of kill the DC universe if the Joker fails
The
too.
DC universe has been dead for a long time. It's
Yeah,
over.
but DC doesn't know that, and so they really need a hit. They really need a hit.
They do.
Yeah.
You need a hit. All right, last story. This is kind of a weak one, but I want to bring it up. Jordan Peele rebooting Candyman started filming already. Do you remember the original Candyman movie?
I did. I didn't see it.
Isn't that the one where you look in the mirror and you say Candyman, 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 and then like the Candyman appears in your living room and kills you?
Sammy Davis Jr. shows up and sings you his greatest hits until you die.
Well, Jordan Peele of recent Twilight Zone popularity, and of course Get Out, and the other one that
Us.
Us, which was good. I actually enjoyed Us.
I didn't see it. I didn't see Get Out either. Unfortunately,
Okay,
it's on my
check,
list.
check them out. Well,
Yeah,
go watch
yeah.
Twilight Zone. I mean, Twilight Zone's hit and miss, but I think there were more hits than misses overall. So I love those kind of shows. I love the
Oh
plot.
yeah.
All right, that's all I got this week, buddy. What do you got to kick us out of here?
What do I got? Well, thanks again to all of our listeners who are just continue to listen to what we're doing here, and which is wild. But thank you, seriously, especially if you've gotten
And if you
through this
listen to an
episode.
episode and you want to leave us a voicemail, you can actually go do it on Anchor now. So if you go to anchor.fm/marketing-geeks, that's anchor.fm/marketing-geeks, you can go there and you can actually record a voicemail. It'll come right into our accounts, and we have the ability to add that into our episode if it's really good. If it is really good.
Well, I think that's it. That's the closing music. They're kicking us out of here.
Yeah, and the music sounds a little distorted, but I'll take it.
Okay, I'll turn it down a little bit. I'm still working out this new system, man. We're upgrading the show.
We're trying to record live episodes, sort of. These are bonuses. They're not really.
Look, we're just so you know, we're in the early stages of like the rebuild of the show, but we're doing it real time. So we're gonna be honest with you about what we're doing. Like we're trying to take this whole thing a little more seriously.
And remember, fast action takers get the spoils. I guess something like that.
Yeah.
That to the bank.
And always remember, folks, if you can identify fear, you can monetize it.
Copyright Justin 2019.
That should be the name of this episode, man. So anyway, lots of great guests. We are currently booked out till the end of the year with guests.
Incredible. Yeah, that is very incredible.
It's insane, and some of these guests are like we may have to like double book. Good stuff coming your way, folks.
I told you I'm a fan of the person ahead of time. Marketing. And I'm signing off.